Do I share my screen, or I wait until you brief?
Just wait for it.
Yes, now we can start.
So, greetings everybody from Department of Petroleum.
Sir, 1 minute. 1 minute only left. 1 minute, just wait.
Just we are waiting for 1 minute. That other attendees are also going to join.
Yes, sir. We will start.
So, greetings everyone from Department of Petroleum Engineering, Chandigarh University, all India, and I welcome everybody from energy professional background, from academia, and from other section of the society in our talk series on global energy trends, petroleum versus other energy resources, and we are honored to have Mr. Ahmed Shamari, product champion,
Yes, sir.
software, and I will start the session the briefing for the Chandigarh University about the Department of Petroleum and some details about Shahari, and we start. So, briefing about Chandigarh University, we are one of the most reputed educational.
Dr. Vinay, sorry, is it me only, or I just feel that your voice is not very clear?
Yes. Dr. Vinay, your voice is not clear to us also.
Please make your mic lit.
Yep.
Am I audible, sir, now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. So, I introduced Chandigarh University as one of the most reputed educational institutions in India with exceptional academia, industry relevant curriculum, and world-class research facilities across the broadest possible range of disciplines. Over the years, Chandigarh University has emerged as the most preferred destination for the students as well as renowned faculties and reputed companies in the country and abroad. Accredited with prestigious NAT A+ in the first cycle itself, Chandigarh University has a diverse campus with students from all 28 states of India, 8 union territories, and 54 foreign nationalities. We have more than 300 tie-ups with top foreign universities across 65 countries, including Canada, UK, United States, China, Italy, Russia, Australia, New Zealand, and many more countries. We have also formed strategic alliances with top MNCs with over 300 senior representatives of top corporate as significant member of our corporate advisory board. Chandigarh University is the only and first university of Punjab, India that offers an undergraduate course in petroleum engineering. The Department of Petroleum Engineering has benefited with multi-million dollars donation from collaboration with various national and international organizations, in particularly with rock flow dynamics, petroleum experts, CAPA, and integrated geochemical interpretation, so that we undertake relevant research activities and to support the teaching by receiving first-hand experience of industry standard software. We are the only university in India to offer projects on world-class industry software packages, including T-Navigator, IBM tools, CAPA tools, IGI, and etc. And the cost of these softwares are more than 1 billion. The department is equipped with an industry-oriented curriculum to conduct innovative research and offer a flexible and choice-based learning approach with futuristic and globally compatible academics as per the guidelines of statutory bodies, including AICTE, UGC, etc. Also, the Department of Petroleum Engineering offers a holistic curriculum to nurture technically sound, socially responsible engineers in every segment of energy vertical for future success in the ever-changing world. We have state-of-art laboratories, experience learning, offers practical exposure to enter the energy sector. Technology Business Incubation Center, it is focusing on entrepreneurship skills and it is training to become self-employed. Besides, the collaboration with various industries and research institutions are also providing the students to excel in research and internship to meet the future professional requirements. Also, The department has faculty members from renowned Indian Institute of Technologies, National Institute of Technologies, and experience in international and national petroleum companies with sound academic, research, and industry background. We are also offering prospecting opportunities for graduates aspiring to pursue higher studies in NTNU, Norway, University of Huddersfield, UK, Edith Cowan University, Australia, Contagia College, Canada, Memorial University, Canada, Harriet Watt University, IIT Madras, and there are many more. Then, in our prominent personalities, we include Honorable Minister of Railways, Commerce and Industry, and Consumer Affairs, Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, Honorable Minister of Textile and Women and Child Development, Srimati Smriti Irani, former President late Mr. Dr. Abdul Kalam, and world-renowned Nobel laureates, His Holiness Dalai Lama, Professor Muhammad Yunus, Dr. Wole Soyinka, and among them there are huge. And we are honored today to have Professor Mohammed Shammari, product champion, pipe software, to talk on the global energy trend, petroleum versus other energy sources. Talking a little about Professor Shammari, he is a senior petroleum engineer with 18 plus years of experience in oil and gas production optimization and digital oil field solutions. Currently, he is working as a product champion for the industry standard multi-phase flow simulator pipeline, which is used for modeling and optimizing petroleum production systems. Previously, he served as a technical consultant and a project manager in various oil and gas design and optimization projects that cover diverse production engineering areas such as integrated asset modeling, flow assurance, advanced completion, artificial lifts, including ESP and gas lifts, etc. Also, he designed and led the implementation of various automated engineering workflows in the areas of virtual metering, production, and the reservoir surveillance and automatic well building, modeling, and calibration. And for this purpose, he has been granted 2 patents from the US Patent Office. Besides, Professor Shammari has excellent communication, training, and coaching communication skills with the ability to develop and achieve strategic long-term goals and communicate effectively with the decision makers of all levels. So, with this introduction, I request Professor Shammari to take over the session and address our audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vinay, for this introduction. I'm really glad to be here today with the university and all the professionals. This is not my first time, communicating with the university, so I'm glad to be here again. Without further ado, let's dive into the subject of today's presentation. I will share my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Is my audio clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
So let's start. First of all, I like talking about energy, and these days, considering all the environmental aspects of global warming and the increase in global temperature, which is rising significantly in the past few decades, all that associated with a lot of CO2 emissions. As you know, there is now an agreement between all the major companies and governments around the world to go into what they consider zero emissions of CO2 emissions and all associated gases by 2050. This is, as you know, a huge challenge for the whole industry. And now we are, as you know, we are in the oil and gas industry, leading one of the major energy supplies into the world. So a very valid question and very valid concern for all undergraduates and graduates and people who are about to select their specialty in the university. Simple question would be, should I go and select petroleum engineering as a major? I mean, will I find a job? What will happen to the oil and gas industry in 10, 20, 15 years, 30 years? Everybody's talking about renewable energy now. You know, we see wind turbines everywhere, you know, solar panels everywhere. So are we seeing that the oil and gas industry is going to be reduced? The oil and gas refineries will be shut down. What will happen? So this is a very good concern and very important, I would say, idea to think about. And that's why we're here today. We'd like to talk about the global energy trends. Where do we stand as oil and gas professionals? And are we still important? Is our profession still has the same, let's say, brightness that it used to be in the past decades? So that's why I'll give you some ideas about this concept today. So human and energy. Okay, the human being used energy since the beginning of history. Okay, not sure if this picture is so clear, but this kind of indicates people burning basically fire to get warmth, to cook. All right. The human being actually found that there are some liquids that are coming naturally on the surface. These liquids can be burned to make light, and this is how the early human being interacted with the oil, with the petroleum products. So the energy has been used by human beings for many centuries, since the birth of history, to be honest. And with time, as the human beings start to be more civilized and to be let's say stationed in cities, and as the civilization progressed, the human beings start to use the energy from the surroundings more efficiently. So in the beginning, the very first use of energy was based on renewable energy. Okay, so right now people are talking about depending on renewable energy as the main energy source. Okay, and this has to be the future trend, that everybody on the globe must use renewable energy. Well, this is not new, actually. Renewable energy has been there for many centuries. What you're looking at right now, this is a schematic of a water-driven Roman Hierapolis stone mill. I'm not sure if you can understand this, but basically this is water. The water will rotate this wheel, and then this wheel will there's a gear system here, and then the gear will translate the rotational motion into horizontal motion, and then they manage to use this energy to actually cut stone, right? And this is, by the way, in the 3rd century, very old machine. So renewable energy has been there, and the human being actually started to use renewable energy since very long time. What we're looking at here is a picture of and what's called North Mill. So for example, this is a small water stream here, where the water stream is actually translated into mechanical motion, and then this is used basically to grind wheat and beans, etc. Okay, as you know, windmills have been there for many years. Since this, for example, windmill is in the 16th century, where the wind energy was used again for grinding wheat, etc. Then with time, the human beings start to use animal force. Okay, here what you can see is what's called horse gen, and the word gen, is basically coming, or the term engine is coming from the word gen in the past. So as you can see here, the animal is rotating, and they're using it to basically create energy, whether it is get water from underground, etc. And I'm sure, for example, horses and other animals are used still until today in many countries around the world, as source of energy. For example, it's used in agriculture, it's used, etc., in other ways to push and pull, or carry out, let's say, luggage, etc. Then with time also, this became more complex. So as you can see here, this is a real picture now. This is for a water mill in Belgium, right? This exists today. And also this tide mill, this is also a mill, but as you can see here, the mechanisms start to become more complex. So this gear is actually rotating because of the water energy, and then the mechanical energy is translated into more gears. So human beings or the energy start to be transformed, okay, into other forms, and it can be used by ropes and gears to be used in more complex machinery. And then this one, for example, 1770s water powered textile mill. So now, as you can see here, the water the water energy is becoming used more, where now we have a shaft. This shaft is connected to gears, and then these gears are actually rotating machines. So this is textile mill. Okay, then this is basically using the renewable energy. Okay. However, the human being also was able to not only use renewable energy, but to generate energy. And it's funny that to generate energy, okay, from heat, this was available since let's say very early. This is a picture of the hero of Alexandria, where he was born in, so this machine was invented around 40 or 50 AD, where basically the water is heated, and then the steam, there's water inside the steam, there is steam nozzles here, the steam will rotate this machine. So this was considered the first steam engine in history. Okay, and with time, engineers and scientists started to convert this concept into more usable energy, okay, and applications. Then with time, we see now in the beginning of the 18th century, the steam powered engine came to exist. Okay, we're looking at here, for example, this is Jacob Leopold steam engine. This is as you can see here, dual piston system. Water is heated here, and then the pressure will go to two cylinders, and then it is basically using for pumping. All right, this is James Watt's pumping engine. So as you can see here also, that this is another steam engine, right? It's based on steam energy to translate the rotational movement into vertical movement. All right, then this actually was the birth of the industrial revolution, as we call it today. During this time, during the 18th century, the world changed forever. This is when the human being started to create energy, to generate energy. And at the beginning, it was all thermal engines. Okay, with time, for example, this is a very beautiful picture of a steam wagon or a car that is operated by steam engine, by steam power. Okay, the steam power was actually used in heavily in transportation, for example. Look into this nice picture also. All right, this is basically a car and a boat. All right, that is again using steam energy. This is this machine was invented in 1860s, right? And this is another machine that is invented is in 1888. By the way, everything here is what you're looking at is mostly coming from Wikipedia. So this is I mean everything is free in the internet. Okay, so amazing. So now the human being was actually using what is called the thermal engine, using steam to rotate or to move machines. But the question is, where did the steam, how did the steam boil, or how did the water boil to become steam? Well, it was mainly coal. So coal was the main energy source. So coal was burned, and then the energy coming out of burning the coal would boil the water, and then this will be converted into steam. Then the steam was used in these machines. Okay, then in the mid of the 19th century, the steam powered factories came to exist. Okay, what you can see here right now, this is a boiler, right? And then the power or the energy coming off the steam was actually used in very complex machinery by belts. For example, the belts would move to different roofs in the factory. What we're looking at here right now is as you can see, this is a big shaft, long shaft, right? This long shaft is rotated by steam energy, and then belts were used to rotate machines. Okay, so factories during the second half of the 19th century are characterized by the introduction of steam power. Separate buildings housed the steam engine, chimneys, and then the water tanks were constructed, and then belts were actually, and shafts were moved to another building to use it in the machines. Okay, then this will also created advances in iron and steel, and this allowed the factories to expand significantly. In the late 1860s, factories moved into these designated factory zones. Many older factories located along the water were updated to steam power. Okay, so we're talking about the 19th century. Now the steam was the main source of energy. Okay, now during the same time, it's interesting that the light bulb was independently invented by both Thomas Edison and Joseph Swan in the late 1870s, right? So now people didn't people in the past mainly used candles, right? Where they take a fuel and then they burn it, or they use wood, for example. But then when the light bulb was invented in late 1870s, this was a major breakthrough. Then Edison, right, built electricity generating stations in Pearl Street in Manhattan, New York, and in London. Okay, what you're looking at here is the first electricity generators. Okay, and again, these generators were rotated using what? Guess what? Using steam engines. Okay, so the main use for electricity in the beginning was only light, right? So and during the 19th century, in the late 1800s, there was no concept of the motor, all right, where you actually convert the electric energy into rotational movement. It was mainly light, right? But even light was a breakthrough. So since then, these electricity generators were expanding all around the world, and then every country in the world almost started to have these generators to generate light, basically. And then also during the same time, so it's very interesting that all these inventions were coming in the same time. The internal combustion engine was invented. Okay, and this was also during the same time of the birth of the petroleum industry. What you're looking at here is Lenoir engine. So this is in the 1860. This is an internal combustion engine. He managed to put the fuel inside the cylinder and then basically burn it and then make it rotate. All right, this is the concept of all the combustion engine that we have today. And also in 1880, Otto invented this engine, right? So in the beginning, basically, most of the internal combustion engines were, going into a direction of small applications. And this is why you see that most of the internal combustion engines were used mainly in transportation. Okay, what you're looking at here is Daimler's Petroleum, it's called Reitwagen or Reitwagen in 1885. So it's basically a machine that was running on petroleum, right? Then there is also Daimler's wire wheel car, the car with the world's first V2 engine. So it was a V2 engine where two cylinders were moving. All right. During this time, the petroleum exploration and production also started, and I will talk about this later. As you can see here, the world was really changing in the 19th century, where the interaction between human being and machines start to explode everywhere in the world. Okay, and this led into the industrial revolution. So the industrial revolution, you can say that between 1750 and the 1900. Okay, it was mainly due to the fact that the coal energy was translated into steam, which created a huge power, huge energy for factories, right? This also created the electricity, and also the industrial, the internal combustion engine was started to be used in transportation. We started to have, the trains. Trains were also using steam energy to transport goods and to transport the production. So this was characterized by the migration from hands to machines. Okay, substantial increase in need for energy. So now the energy became very, very important for the growth of all the economies. We're talking about the economies mainly in Europe and in the States. Okay, so and also in Russia, in everywhere almost in the civilized world, the energy became very, very important and very, very essential for the challenge and for the competition between these countries to have more economical growth. There was also the rise of the mechanized factory systems and the development of the modern transportation system. However, this also led to unprecedented rise in the rate of population growth. So since let's say the 19th century, the population growth started to increase significantly, and this mainly due to the fact that the modern life, make it easier for the population around the world to have access to water, have access to food, etc. Okay, the industrial revolution also was characterized by the growth of many industries. Steel, for example, it was mainly used to start producing gears, to start producing shafts, cements for building the factories, transportation, mining to find more minerals, to find steel, to find copper. The food industries, the chemicals, where these machines needed lubrications, needed cooling systems, paper, glass, etc. And as you can see here, all that is powered by energy. So energy was essential. So energy was instrumental for all these industries to grow and to develop. Okay, and that's why, during this time, the main source of energy was coal. Right, coal mining was extremely popular in many places around the world, but also this was also this also created the importance of oil and oil products. Okay, so let's start talking about, since now we have this introduction, seeing the importance of energy for the industrial revolution. And as I mentioned, coal was the main and the most important energy resource. Okay, let's talk about coal. One of the funny facts is that many people don't think that coal is still used until today. Okay, they think that, well, coal is polluting the world, and coal has stopped. Okay, and this is not reality. Okay, coal mining. Let's talk about some history. Coal mining goes back thousands of years. Okay, it became essential during the Industrial Revolution to power steam engines, heat buildings, and generate electricity, as we mentioned before. Coal provided the main source of primary energy for industry and transportation from the 18th century to the 1950s. Okay, it was unbeatable, right? By 2010, coal produced over a fourth of the world's energy. Okay, so when we talk about coal, right? Yes, we know that coal is polluting. We realize that. Coal has significantly contributed to the global warming, but without coal, the Industrial Revolution wouldn't happen, right? So we should respect this energy resource. This is an interesting picture here, okay? And this is the source. It's from BP. BP actually produces very powerful and informative energy for outlooks every year. Okay, this picture here is describing the coal consumption by region in exajoules. Okay, now as you can see here, in many of the parts around the world, okay, coal consumption start to be less, right? We're talking about North America's, South and Central America, Europe, okay. I think Central, I don't know what CIS stands for. Anyways, Middle East, Africa, but in the Asia and the Pacific, this actually increased. Look into the gap, right? This is 95, this is 2000, and then this is the 20th century. The growth, the economical growth in China and India needed more energy. This growth in economy was powered by more energy, and there is no enough energy except coal to feed energy. I mean, resource was available to feed this power and these factories except coal. So coal mining was increased. Coal consumption was also increased, okay, in the Asia Pacific. And this is 2020, by the way, huh? So we will also talk about the future, but this picture is very, very clear, I would say, representation of the importance of energy, We know that, yes, renewable energy is very important. Renewable energy is essential for the environment. We all realize, we all agree, okay? But in order for economies to grow, in order for people to have work, in order for transportation to happen, etc., you have to have energy. And until today, there is no in many countries, there is no better than coal to feed this energy, okay? And for coal, by the way, there are a lot of development in capturing the toxic gases, in cleaning the gases coming in, filtering the gases coming out of the burning process. So there is now a concept of green coal. I'm not sure if this is really true, but there is a term called green coal now. And this, by the way, shows the trend. Okay, so we're talking about until 1950. This is the world historical and projected coal production until 2050. So so from now until 2030, it is assumed or expected that coal will start to will increase in terms of production, right? Until it's expected to start to decline. But even if it declines around 2050, there is still huge need for it. And by the way, the reason for, one of the reasons for the decline is not because it's not needed. It's there is no the reserves will start to decline. Okay, it's worth mentioning that more than 6,500,000 people are working in the coal mining, processing, and delivery. 2,500,000 around the world people work in coal power generation and associated networks. This picture shows the main global energy. It shows the global coal power. All right, and these are the operating let's say coal operated let's say plants. So the yellow is today operating plants using coal around the world. Okay, this pink is under construction. See, today there are new coal plants being constructed, and there are also this purple, or it's actually planned. So you'll see that, as you can see here, the coal would still remain a very important source of energy. Good. Now let's talk about petroleum. All right, petroleum has been discovered again in the middle of 19th century. So in 1825, Imperial Russia produced 3,500 tons of oil and doubled its output by mid-century. The first commercial oil well in Canada became in operation in 1858 in Oil Springs, Ontario. The first modern oil drilled in the United States began in West Virginia and Pennsylvania in the 850s, right? By 1920s, oil fields had been established in many countries, including Canada, Poland, Sweden, Ukraine, and the United States, Peru, and Venezuela. Okay, so the oil industry, the oil production, came into exist, and it became really an important industry during the same time where the industrial revolution happened. But petroleum was not only used for energy. Okay, petroleum has a lot of products. Okay, petroleum, for example, produce gases such as propane and methane, liquid fuels such as gasoline, kerosene, aviation fuels, and diesel fuels, adding dyes and detergents and antifungal components, lubricants, light machine oils and motor oils, etc., paraffin wax, scale wax, sulfur, tar, asphalt used as a binder for gravel from asphaltene to form asphalt concrete, which is used for paving roads. Petrochemicals, all the plastics today are made of petrochemicals. Okay, petrochemicals such as ethylene, propylene, acrylic acid, and benzene, toluene, xylenes, and others. These organic compounds are turned into polymers, plastics, and pharmaceuticals, among others. Okay, today over 6,000 items are made from petroleum waste byproducts, including fertilizers, flooring, perfumes, insecticides, petroleum jelly, soap, vitamins, and some essential amino acids. All these are produced from the petroleum waste. Okay, for the natural gas has been also one of the main important energy resource in the world. Okay, you will see in this picture that this is the world main natural gas consumption. Okay, as you can see here, Russia and Far East Asia, along with Canada and America are the main natural gas consumers. And also, as you can see, I think this is production. Sorry, this is production. Okay, natural gas. This is now also the natural gas by area. Okay, and as you can see here, it is still growing, right, until 2020. So this is again, so for example, this is in Europe, and as you can see here, the energy, let's say the production of natural gas is increasing by year, and still is expected to increase as well. Now let's talk about other types of energy, and then finally we'll go back to the petroleum. Okay, what about nuclear, right? How is the nuclear power? How is the nuclear reaction is used in energy? Basically, this for education, a neutron is absorbed by uranium nucleus. Then it will make it excited uranium, and then it will split. It will split into basically barium and krypton, and then with this split, it will create a huge amount of energy. But how was this used? Well, basically, this is what we call what is called the reactor vessel, in which this is how where the uranium is bombarded with the neutrons, and it's split to create the energy. And inside this reactor, there is pressurized water. This pressurized water will have very huge values of temperature, and then this pressurized, very hot water will go into steam generator. Then the steam is generated again to turn turbines and then generate electricity. Okay. Now, nuclear also has been a very important energy resource. Despite that, after these, after the uranium is used, okay, then it will become radioactive material, and the radioactivity is very toxic. But it's a fact that until today there are a lot of nuclear reactors around the world. Okay, in 54. So let's just jump this. So we can see that around in the 50s and the 60s, the nuclear power was considered a very important energy resource. And now look into this. Despite all the risks and environmental hazards, nuclear energy production remained growing year by year. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the nuclear electricity production. Okay, what I'm trying to say is the energy resource, whether it is coal, whether it's petroleum, whether it's gas, whether it's nuclear, or the renewables, all of them are still growing, and they are expected to grow. The reason for that is because the world needs more energy. Okay, let's talk about the renewables now. Okay, the wind energy start to become more popular, where the wind turbines are actually converted into while the movement it's converted into basically electricity by using motors, basically, or electric generators. So around the mid 90s, it became really it started to spike significantly, and nowadays the global wind energy generation is around 1,400 terawatt hour. Okay, mainly in Asia Pacific, Europe, North America, and the rest of the world. Okay, the wind energy is expected to grow significantly in the coming decades, and it's very interesting because wind is very reliable, and sustainable. However, that said, let's also flip the coin a little bit. Okay, so and talk about some facts about wind energy. Okay, these wind turbines are not cheap. Okay, each wind turbine costs between 2.6 and $4 million per average wind turbines. There are larger wind turbines that will cost more. Okay, typical cost is 1.3 million per megawatt. This is considered a very, very expensive electricity. Okay, most commercial wind turbines have the capacity of 2 to 3 megawatts, but offshore turbines can be as large as 12 megawatts. In addition to the initial cost, wind turbines requires maintenance. The maintenance cost, once built, the maintenance is ongoing expense. It will cost 1 to 2 cents per kilowatt hour produced, or $42,000 or $48,000 per year. Okay, so although wind turbines, as I said, it is exploding. It is very, I would say, the wind turbines are being generated significantly all around the world and installed significantly all around the world, but it is not as efficient and cheap as it you know, as you may think. Of course, the cost is reduced significantly. So what you're looking at right now is one of the recent let's say technologies, one of the recent prices or cost after a lot of improvements and cost reductions. Okay, however, wind turbines kill birds, and this is a fact. This is not exaggeration. Let me just explain why. Wind turbines are installed, they're not installed everywhere. Okay, in order for the engineers to select the right path for the wind turbines, they usually look for for the wind currents. Okay, so wind currents are also used by migrating birds because it is easier for the migrating birds to travel long distances. So these wind turbines are actually working as obstacles in their way, and guess what? It will kill the birds. The US Fish and Wildlife Service estimates that between 140,000 and 500,000 birds deaths occur at wind farms each year. This is in the United States. Around 500,000 bird deaths occur at wind farms every year. Wind turbines have also been found to be one of the leading causes of mass bat mortality, with some studies pinning fatalities at 888,000 bats a year. Okay, why am I saying this? I'm not saying this just to accuse or just to, you know, put down the importance of wind energy. Wind energy is still clean, renewable, okay, and efficient. But when we say the positives, we have to also say, you know, state the facts. When people accuse us in the oil and gas industry for polluting the world, yes, we admit that, and we are working to improve that. But is all the green energy completely green? Is it always environmentally friendly? How about what will happen to these wind turbines when they are out of service? The average service of a wind turbine is only 20 to 25 years, maybe less than that. After that, what will happen? It cannot be recycled because the material is not recyclable. So what they do with it? They bury it. Is this an environmental friendly act? No, it's not. All right. But again, I'm not accusing the wind energy. I'm just stating facts that when you want to create energy, when you want to generate energy, there is a cost. There's an environmental impact, and it's seen everywhere. Okay. So this is talking about the wind energy. Hydropower energy or the water energy. This is one of the very, I would say, stable and cost-effective methods for creating energy, right? Where you create a dam and then you use the dam to basically the hydrostatic power. It's used to rotate turbines and then generate electricity. Okay, and as you can see here, it is used in many places around the world. Okay, and as you can see here, for example, in Canada, it has more than 25% as you know, more than 25% as the energy resource. I live in Norway. In Norway here, more than 80 to 85% of the energy is produced by hydropower. It's called hydropower, the water power. What is the challenge? The challenge is that you will need rivers. Okay, you will need rivers or you know, some mountainous structures where you can create dams in order to generate electricity. Okay, so hydropower has a lot of positives. Number one, it's flexibility. So meaning you can control how much electricity you want to produce. Okay, by let's say you know, changing the rotational speed, right? So it is more flexible. It has low cost and high value power. So once you put it, once you construct a dam, it will stay for many years. I mean, sometimes 50 years, sometimes 100 years. Okay, it is suitable for industrial applications, zero CO2 emissions, and other uses of the reservoir. So they can, once you have you establish the reservoir, then you can use it for agriculture and other uses as well. However, it has also some drawbacks or negatives. Number one, it has ecosystem damage and loss of land. Okay, when you want to construct a dam, right, you have to accumulate tons and tons of water, right? And when you accumulate this water, okay, it will basically go, you know, it will eat the land, right? So it will damage the ecosystem. One of the problems is that a lot of water is lost by evaporation, because now you are increasing the water surface, so a lot of water is lost by evaporation. Siltation and flow shortage. So because the water in front of the dam is stagnant, then there will be a lot of precipitation and siltation that will happen in the on the reservoir base, on the water reservoir base. Okay, which is a big problem. And then with time, this will create methane. It will there will be a lot of bacteria, etc. So there will be more methane. One of the major also problem is that if the dam is becoming non-stable, then you have to relocate a lot of people. We have seen a lot of disasters where the dam breaks and then it floods tons and tons of water, and then there will be a lot of villages that are destroyed because of that. Okay, and as you know, this indicates that it has a lot of, not a lot, but it has a high failure risk. So if it fails, then the risks are very high. Okay, again, I like hydropower. All right, it's very powerful, very reliable, very clean. Okay, but also we need to consider the negatives as well. Solar power. Okay, so everybody is talking about solar power these days, right? Even in the developing countries, because now it's becoming cheaper and cheaper by the day, right? And this is excellent. Solar power is very I would say now easy to apply. Now people are using it to in even home applications, although it doesn't generate a lot of electricity for home applications, but it is actually used you know, significantly all around the world. Okay, there are two types of solar energy. There is what is called the photovoltaic cells. It's a special cells made of silica, and then it has a natural phenomena. It's a natural behavior that once it gets radiation from sun, it will create electricity. Okay, then the photovoltaic or PV system will be used to generate electricity right away. The efficiency here is questionable. I mean, it doesn't exceed maybe 10 to 12%. But now you can see, for example, a lot of experiments on solar cars, etc. And now you see a lot of countries, especially in the Middle East and India, and they are starting to put solar farms. Okay, very, as I said, clean once installed. But and also let's talk about the other kind. So the other type of solar system is when you concentrate the solar energy into transparent pipes, or maybe not necessarily transparent, but into water pipes, and then the water pipes will evaporate. Okay, and then once evaporate, they will go and return. It will create steam, and then the turbines will rotate to create electricity. Okay, so very good. I like it. Everybody is you know, considering solar energy as very clean, very reliable, but also there are some drawbacks. Okay, challenges. Nowadays the cost has been significantly reduced. I mean, 20 years ago it was the ROI stands for return of investment. So this is a very important term. Okay, so return of investment is 7 to 10 years. So you put a solar panel system, and then the cost that you put will come back to you after 10 years. Okay, so for example, you put $1 million or 50 million rupees, for example, in a solar energy system. You will wait 10 years until the electricity generated by the electric power will come back to you, and then you will start to get revenue, free energy, okay, or free electricity. So it is still costly, although it was much more costly in the past. It is weather dependent. Okay, you need to have good radiation. If you have rain, if you have you know, clouds, then the efficiency will drop significantly down. Storage is expensive because you will need to have batteries to store this energy. Okay, and sometimes in a very good sunny day, you wish that you have a much bigger battery in order to store this energy, so that it is kept for the bad weather days, right? So if you want to have better batteries, then the cost will become much higher. Okay, so storage is still expensive, and there is always research about how they can improve the storage and the batteries. It requires a lot of space in order to gain the required energy. It is associated with pollution. This is interesting. Why? Because when you want to manufacture the solar panels, okay, there is a lot of let's say energy needed to melt silica and then to make these panels. Okay, so you will need to have a lot of energy to produce it in the first place. Okay, that, you know, its quality will degrade with time. Like, for example, after 2, 3 years, 5 years, of these solar panels will start to become less and less, and then finally it requires continuous cleaning. Just one sandstorm, it will block these solar energy produced become much less. And finally, you know, it's very fragile. Okay, if you have, for example, a windy day and then there is hail will break them. Okay, if some kids are playing around your house and then throw stone on it, it will break. So it is fragile system. Okay, now let's talk about probably this is the last part of renewable energy, which is geothermal. So geothermal also is another type of renewable energy, where basically the system uses the hot water in the ground. So you will need to have an area where you can reach to the hot layers in the ground. So if there is hot water, then you can use the hot water, produce the hot water, generate the electricity by rotating turbines, and then inject you cool the water, and then you inject the water, the cold water back to be hot again, and then this is the cycle, right? Or you can use CO2, for example. So you can produce hot CO2, and then you re-inject it again. All right. This is there are many applications for the geothermal gradient, but geothermal energy, but it's the same concept. Okay. The geothermal energy has been there for some time. Okay. It was early found in the early 1900s, but then steam and hot water from geysers began heating homes in Iceland starting in 1943. So the geothermal energy is there, but to be honest, it's not as significant as the other energy resources, and the reason for that, it requires very special installations and projects. This map here shows the installed geothermal energy capacity in 2019. As you can see here, the main place where geothermal energy is used is in the United States, West Canada, some areas in Far East Asia. One of the positives is that it's renewable and sustainable. However, it has some drawbacks as well. So when you produce the steam from the ground, right? It is coming from Earth, and Earth can carry mixture of gases such as CO2, H2S, methane, and NH3. So all these are basically harmful gases, right? Hot water may hold in solution traces of toxic elements such as mercury, boron, antimony. Okay. And then drilling geothermal wells is more expensive than drilling oil wells and gas wells of comparable depth. And the reason for that is because the formations where you want to use the water heat energy or the geothermal energy has a lot of, it's more complex basically than oil and gas reservoirs. Okay. So it is costly. It's not very effective as, for example, dams, water dams, and the rest of the renewable energies. Now, I think I have almost reached the end of my presentation. Okay, this is actually the purpose of the presentation today. Okay, the future need for petroleum engineers. We've all seen that there are different energy resources that are competing, seem to be competing with each other in order to put the supply of energy to the world. Okay. However, look into these facts. These are very important facts. The percentage of energy from oil and natural gas the world needs is expected to decline from about 53% to about 48% over the next 30 years. Okay. However, the amount of production is actually expected to increase by 20% of oil and 50% of natural gas. Why is that? Because this is due to mainly to expected increase in world population from 7.5 to 9 billion, and improvement in the economic conditions of developing countries. The world needs more energy, guys. And this will continue to happen in the coming 30, 40, 50 years. Okay. Even with all the, let's say, regulations of zero emissions, of going to renewables, okay, there will not be enough to feed, to provide sustainable energy to the world. That's why even when the oil and gas dependency, or okay, the oil and gas energy production will drop from 53% to 48% only 5% of energy dependency over the next 30 years, the oil and gas production itself will increase. Climate change is real. We all agree. We should transform our industry in every possible way to minimize any diverse effect of our work on the environment and to comply with the state regulations. With the recent development in data science and engineering analytics, there is a greater need for petroleum engineers with an understanding of physics to take advantage of these improvements and optimize the processes we use. All this, by the way, is taken from this paper. I have to acknowledge that. And now, this is the last slide of my presentation today. Today, this is the distribution of energy consumption by source. Okay. So as you can see here, the energy need has been significantly growing, right? But look into oil and gas. Oil and gas is more than half, right? And if you add coal, you're talking about easily 80% of energy is by fossil fuel today. As of today, nuclear, hydropower, wind, solar, and others is less than 20%. What is the message here? The message is fossil fuels as energy resource will remain there for many, many years. And look into this forecast, okay? This is by BP Energy Outlook. So even if we go to 2040, right? This is the green is oil, this is gas, and this is coal. If these are the fossil fuels, as we call it, we expect an increase, all right, in all of them until 2040. Of course, we need more renewables. We need more, let's say, hydro. We need probably there will be more nuclear, all right? But oil and gas will remain there. Okay. One last comment before I conclude today. And I didn't want to put that on screen so that maybe people don't take screenshot or anything. Whatever I'm going to say right now may seem a bit challenging the whole environmentalists around the world, but this is what I believe. Okay, everybody is talking about CO2 as the main reason for global warming. Okay, everybody is talking about CO2 emissions, reduce CO2 emissions by 2050. Okay, and everybody is talking about the even if it's not only CO2, all the emissions as the main source of global warming. Okay, and I, with all respect, I disagree. Okay, CO2 and all these gases are byproduct of the Industrial Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution is the main cause for the global warming. Why is that? One of the first courses I studied, by the way, my original background is mechanical engineering until I specialized in petroleum engineering. One of the first concepts or rules I studied in thermodynamics is the fact that any machine, it will create energy, and then there will also be losses, right? So you have work and you have losses. Okay, any machine, whether it's electric, whether it's hydropower, you name it, any machine will have to have losses, and these losses are actually in the form of heat. Okay, like for example, today we're talking about electric cars, right? Electric cars are excellent, they're very efficient, very clean, but the electric motor, when it rotates, it will create heat. Any factory will create heat. Look into your air conditions, for example, at home. Okay, in the summer, when you turn on the air condition, if you put your hand on the back side of the AC, what you will see, what you will feel, you will feel heat, right? You put your hand in any car, in any engine, in any motor, okay, it will create heat, right? Geothermal energy needs the water to be cooled down. When we say the water is cooled down, where does the heat go? It will go to the environment, okay? When we talk about nuclear, for example, nuclear reactors, we need to cool the water down in order to complete the cycle. When we cool the water, how do we cool it? It will go to the environment, okay? The reason for a global warming is all the machines that are rotating around us. Every movement is creating energy to the environment, okay? So the global warming is not only related to CO2 emissions. That said, if all oil and gas companies committed to the zero emissions by CO2 by 2050, do you expect that the global warming will become less? Well, it might be, but it's not as you expect. The reason is there will be more machines that will rotate and will produce energy to the environment, okay? It is all of the small, tiny machines and ACs and cars and vehicles that are rotating around the world. Everything is emitting energy to the environment, which is increasing the temperature of the globe. This is my personal opinion. Okay, so this is one fact I wanted to share with you. The the other fact as well is, you know, none of, as I mentioned, none of the available green energy today is purely green. Okay, we have renewable energy, but you have to be careful when you use the word green energy, because in order for you to construct a solar panel, you have to create a lot of energy. You have to use a lot of energy to create the solar panel in the first place. In order to manufacture a wind turbine, you have to use a huge amount of energy to basically create all these blades, nice blades. You have to have energy. Okay, what about batteries? All these electric cars, you know, that are made of lithium. Okay, have you seen a lithium mine where basically the lithium is extracted? Completely polluting industry to create lithium, which goes to the batteries. Okay, so when we talk about environment, we all agree that we need always to work together to clean the environment, to become environmentally friendly. But don't blame the oil and gas and the coal industry alone. You have to admit that all the other industries are also polluting the environment. Of course, we admit it's not the same as the fossil fuels, but it is not completely green. With that, I'd like to conclude my presentation today, and thank you very much. Let's open the Q&A session.
From my side and from Chandigarh University Department of Petroleum Engineering, I really thank Dr. Mari for such a beautiful, decorative, illustrative, informative session on the various global energy sources and beautifully has covered all the parts. So now I request every participant and all the panelists to put the question answer. I see there are a lot of questions in the chat box itself. So I request Dr. Mari to deal with them. And if somebody wanna ask the question later on directly, I'm gonna enable the audio option after completing the chat box part, so that you can talk to the directly and get your queries solved. And one more information, that just after the session, I will be circulating the feedback form to every participant in the chat box itself, so that you can fill it up and you get your certificate in your email box. So over to Professor Shamari for the doubt clarification.
So how do you want us to do the Q and answer? So can someone probably from the panelists
you can see the chat box.
I can see the chat box.
Yes.
Do I go directly and read, or?
Yes. Professor Mukarram can read the question.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Am I clearly audible?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So there are a lot of questions. I'll start from the beginning. Okay, sir. So the first question is, sir, there are still several industries that require the use of natural gas. Are there any carbon-free solutions that can replace this demand of natural gas?
So as I said, there's nothing called replace. To be honest, I disagree with this term replace. It is what we can say is that it will add to the energy mix. So during the presentation I showed you a lot of different energy resources that are used in different applications. Okay, but for example, when it comes to, let's say, if we talk about gas turbines, for example. Gas turbines will remain gas turbines, okay? For example, there is the steam turbines that can work the same. But in order for you to heat this, to create the steam, you need to have a lot of energy. So it's not, there is no, I would say, one answer for this question.
Okay, sir. The next is, what is the most important problems related to energy resources?
So I think depending on the energy resource itself, right? What for example, if we're talking about the fossil fuels, the main problem is the harm to the environment. We know that the drilling operation is harmful to the industry, and there are many companies who are working on improving that. Okay, similarly when I talked about coal, and there are many new technologies to reduce the emissions of coals and make it cleaner, right? For the renewables, the main problem is the storage. Okay, I would say, I mean, let me just tell you about my own experience here in Norway. The electric cars are very commonly used. Okay, and a few years back when I came to Norway, I bought an electric car. It's Nissan Leaf 2012, and with time, the range of the battery was reduced significantly. I mean, one charge didn't take me more than maybe 70-80 kilometers. And if I want to charge, even if I go to the fast chargers, I have to wait for 1 hour, for example, to recharge my car. Okay, so this is not efficient, and that's why unfortunately I had to sell it. And unless I go and I buy a Tesla, which is extremely expensive. Now, of course, there are alternatives, but they are expensive if you want to buy a new one, all right? But still, charging will take time, and the range is the issue. So energy storage is a problem. Okay, but then one of the major challenges is the waste. So what will happen to these batteries after they get out of service? Until today, there is no solution for recycling these batteries. This will create a lot of problem in 10-20 years, because hundreds of thousands of batteries will be thrown away. Okay, so this is another problem. So as I said, each energy resource has its own challenges and problems.
Yes, sir. So the next one is a pretty simple one. The petroleum industry could disappear under the profile of other sources of energy like renewable energy. Is it true?
No, it's not true. I answered that clearly. Yeah. The petroleum industry will continue. Even the petroleum, let's say, the amount of oil and gas production will remain to grow in the coming 30, 40, 50 years. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
There will be more additional renewable powers, but it will add to the energy mix. Guys, let me tell you a very important fact. Okay. Today, probably most of our audience here are in India, right? How many areas in India today, they don't have enough electricity? A lot, right? I originally come from Syria. In my country, many cities, they have only 3 hours, 4 hours of electricity per day. This is the same for Lebanon, same for Yemen, same for Sudan, same for Iraq. Many of the development countries, they don't have enough energy today. They need more energy, okay? Even if the population growth will not continue, the world needs more energy today. If we need to give energy to everyone, right, it's going to be very, very expensive. And that's why, you know, more renewable energy is needed, and more oil and gas energy is also needed. The energy mix will increase, right? Energy mix will increase. There will be the concept of energy transition. We are transitioning into better, more environmental friendly oil and gas production, but oil and gas production will remain there for many years to come.
Yes, sir. So the next one is, what are the major problems or disadvantages can be faced by green energy industry if the whole world adapt to green energy, which is unlikely. Like as of now, oil industry is facing major problems like price hike, pollution, political wars, etc.
As I said, for green energy, depending on what are you talking about. For example, when it comes to hydropower, the dams, the water generated by the rivers, there is no major problems there, except that, you know, with time, there the structure of the dam may be dangerous, so it may make a disaster. All right. The other challenge, for example, is the storage. Again, the lithium batteries, when they degrade, because all the renewable energies today, they need storage. Okay. For example, especially solar, you have spikes of energy supply, and then you have times where the energy supply is zero. Okay. For the wind is not also stable. Sometimes if the wind is very powerful, the wind turbines are shut down so that they don't break. Okay, so nothing gas industry when it comes to sustainability, right? So the main challenge and disadvantage is storage. And if the industry is only relying on lithium, and because lithium is toxic, all right, once lithium once these batteries are out of service, there will be a major problem in dealing with these lithium batteries. Okay, and it is happening very soon, right?
Okay, so the next one is, can renewable energy replace fossil fuels?
No.
Yes. Next one is, what are the major problems in blue hydrogen?
So by the way, I mean, hydrogen today is now let's say a nice word. Everybody's talking about hydrogen as the next energy that is you know, going to be used. And the concept is simple. People think that, okay, I will get energy, I will mix it with oxygen, burn it, it will create an energy, and then the emissions is water. Wow, nice, everybody claps. Okay, but how do you generate the hydrogen in the first place? You have to rely on natural gas, huh? Do you know that? And take methane, and then from methane you are extract hydrogen. So you'll need natural gas. So blue nitrogen is not environmentally friendly as people think. Yes, once it is produced, yes, it might be environmentally friendly because it will emit water. But in order for you to produce it, you are still going to produce natural gas. So this is, I think, the main problem. Now is storage, the transport of hydrogen is still you know, developed. But as I said, hydrogen comes from natural gas in probably 90% of the operations.
Okay, sir. So this one is coming from an undergraduate student who have spent about 3 semesters in online mode of teaching, and they feel like they have faced, they are lacking the exposure to the practical knowledge. So the question is, the companies will the companies will hire us after our degree completion because we have spent 3 semesters in our home like we have studied online, but we don't have much practical knowledge in oil and gas sector.
So this is a very important question, and I feel that this is a concern for all the graduates and you know, people learning online. At the end of the day, new graduate is a new graduate, whether you have studied without online, studied in physical classrooms, you went to practical, let's say, training, etc. You are still a new graduate. Okay. My advice to all students who are now studying petroleum engineering, whether they are studying online or, you know, I would say that you have to equip yourself with additional skills. And nowadays, it's the technology of machine learning, data intelligence, programming. Equip yourself with those. Okay, there has to be a mixture between the basic knowledge, all right, of petroleum engineering as well as the IT. All right, once you have this mix, you will be unique, right? In addition to this, try not to rely only on the information or the let's say the teachings that you're getting in the university. Try always to read, try to you know, learn about different technologies. Everything nowadays, the information is available online. So again, when it comes to hiring a new graduate, whether he will graduate from online or from practical, is still the same. But what will give the opportunity is the uniqueness. How are you unique among your other colleagues, right? And to be honest, yes, I see that many oil and gas companies, they reduced hiring the past 2 years. Okay, but this is improving now with time, right? Nowadays, for example, I posted you know, an article on my LinkedIn page talking about there is the expectation that there's a shortage of petroleum engineering skills in the US in the coming decade, right? So for example, what will happen right now? Right now, many people who are entering the university, they will think, well, you know what, let me not pick the oil and gas or the petroleum industry. It's not hiring, or and the companies are not hiring and so on. So there will be less in 5 years, 4 years, there will be less graduates. And this happens all around the world. Okay. When there are less graduates, there will be less competition, and that's why you will get opportunities faster, right? So it's all supply and demand. As I said, when you graduate, right? Don't you know, just wait until the first opportunity comes. Okay, work on yourself. Take online courses, free courses. Be ready, all right, until the opportunity comes. And then believe me, everyone will take his opportunity. It might take some time. It might take 1, 2, sometimes 3 years until the first opportunity comes, but it will come. Okay.
Okay, sir. The next one is, what energy problems will be faced in future?
I think I responded to this question.
Yes, sir. Okay, so the next one is, what are your views on petroleum industry in reference to carbon capture technology?
I think this is a very good question. So the petroleum energy, the petroleum industry, all the major players in the petroleum energy today have committed to the zero emissions by 2050. In Schlumberger, for example, there is a new business line called New Energy. Okay, we are in, for example, the flow assurance business in Schlumberger, Pipesem, and Olga. We are now exploring how we can improve the modeling of CO2 transport, and we have also another product. It's called Symmetry. Well, it's mainly used for modeling CO2 transport, and storage. So there is a concept now, it's called carbon capture and storage, CCS, right? All of the oil and gas companies are considering that. We're talking about, zero flare during the drilling operations. We're talking about CO2 injection. We're talking about taking the CO2 and use it as enhanced oil recovery, in which we inject it in the reservoir to increase the pressure. So there are many I would say projects that are being started, and the oil and gas industry is on top of this, and there will be also even new jobs for petroleum engineers in this area, which is carbon capture and storage. And even for chemical engineers, for that matter.
Okay, sir. So the next one, I think you have already responded to. Can renewable energy replace petroleum? So we have already discussed.
No, yeah.
Next one is, what is the role of renewable energy in global energy transformation?
So the renewable energy will be a very important element in the global energy transformation, sorry, because basically we will see more and more investments around the world in the renewable energy. For example, many companies now, many countries around the world are installing new solar panels, new wind turbines. And I'm not sure if you heard about the dispute between Ethiopia and Egypt today. It's been there for the past 2-3 years. Ethiopia once built actually a huge dam on the Nile River, and then Sudan and Egypt are not happy about it. And why is that? Because basically people need renewable energy, and so I think there will be more and more investment in renewable energy in the coming decades. However, as I said, it will add to the energy mix. It will not replace the fossil fuels. Yes.
Yes. There is also some question in chat, question answer section.
Yes, sir.
I think.
Yeah, I can go ahead and read some of them. Okay. Yes. According to some reports, fossil fuels will face a shortage of supply in the next 50 years. How can this affect the industries that depend on fossil fuels? Yes, this is an important concern. Okay, and I believe with time, many of these industries will start to basically rely on other energy resources. Now, when we talk about next 50 years, so 50 years is a lot of time, to be honest. Okay, during this time, as I said, maybe new exploration, new discoveries will happen. Okay, everybody's talking about the have we reached the peak oil? And I may disagree, because, for example, I mean, a country like Venezuela, do you know that Venezuela has the highest oil reserves in the whole world? And they have almost zero oil production today because of their collapsed economy, right? The political dispute in Iran and Iraq, for example, once solved, there will be more production. Okay. Exploration is happening. Turkey, for example, is discovering new oil and gas fields. So there could be that during 50 years, there could be more discoveries and more oil and gas supply. So you'll never know.
Yes, sir. So the next one is, we know that there is some amount of non-renewable energy required if we are relying on renewables. If all of the non-renewable production and usage is stopped, is it possible to renewable to stand alone in the market?
No, it will not be able. And as I mentioned, as of now, all the renewables are not more than 20%. Okay, yes, and yes, it may increase with time, but still, the dependency on the fossil fuels will be at least 70% in the coming 60-70 years.
Yes, sir. So next one is, why do you expect global energy demand growth to slow down? And do you believe it is a structural phenomena?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that the global energy demand will slow down. It will increase. The global energy demand will continue to increase despite of any other resource. What I said is that the portion, the percentage of fossil fuels to feed the global energy demand will be reduced by maybe 5%.
Yes, sir.
But the global energy demand will continue to increase because of the population increase.
Yes, sir. So the next one is, sir, with this increase in artificial intelligence employment opportunities will also increase as not that much of manpower is needed. What are your views on this?
No, that's yeah. I think simply there will be new jobs for people to to create a new intelligence for the artificial intelligence. Let me explain this. In the 60s, when the robotics came to the car manufacturing industry, okay, people were very scared and very worried that, well, robots will replace everything, right? And guess what? Now the population of the global population since the 60s until today maybe had added maybe 2 to 3 billions, okay.
Yes.
And everybody's almost working. So I would say there will be more jobs nowadays. The AI, the data analytics, data security, for example, all that will create more jobs for the I mean, for both in the oil industry and as well as IT.
Yeah, next one is, in current situation, electric vehicles are more preferable for people instead of petroleum and diesel-based vehicles. And also, the major reason is rapidly increasing prices of petrol and diesel. So, can we say that in future there are more number of electric vehicles on the road? And
Agree. Yes, that's a possibility. I believe that the future for motor vehicles will be electric. This is my own perspective and thinking. For a very simple reason. I think, look, the internal combustion engine has not more than probably maybe 30 to 40% efficiency. Meaning, if you have a diesel engine or a gasoline engine, only 30 or 40% of that energy when you burn the fuel will go to the mechanical motion, and the rest is heat. Whereas the electric motor has much higher efficiency. You put, for example, one kilojoule of electric power, then maybe 85% or 80 to 85% with that will be translated into mechanical, and the rest will be friction. So in terms of energy efficiency and the high cost of hydrocarbons, I believe car transportation will become more and more electric in the coming future. You will see more electric buses that are traveling around India and China in the coming 20 years. Maybe we will also go into the concept of personal taxis where we have drones that are electric, etc. So yes, I believe it is more electric. However, that said, the industry, the whole world must come with better electric storage solutions. Today, the batteries are not very good solutions. The lithium batteries are, as I said, once they are out of service, they become toxic. They're very harmful to the environment. So there has to be new technologies for storing electricity.
yes, sir. So currently we have about 50 questions in the inbox and 20 minutes are remaining. So let's rush off these questions.
Okay.
What are as the current emerging trend in oil and gas industries towards data analysis, AI, ML? So what will be the impact caused by these, maybe on the job perspective?
No, it will open new jobs actually. It will improve. Let's say, for example, when we talk about machine learning and AI, for example, in the automation, even in the exploration, it will help us find more reservoirs, right? Machine learning will give us more remote control of our fields. There will be more efficiency, more cost reduction, and also I believe that the machine learning, AI, and data analytics will also play a major role in cutting carbon footprint of the oil and gas industry. So it's going to be used. It's going to be very important for the oil and gas industry in many years to come.
Okay, this one is pretty curious. Sir, in the refinery of the crude oil, we also get kerosene. So, but nowadays we are not seeing kerosene being used in the market, and availability has also been reduced. So, where is this kerosene going on?
So kerosene is used, is still used probably in other combinations of chemicals. Yes, maybe the direct use for let's say kerosene in our daily applications are and by the way, I mean, all these refined products, they are extracted by purpose. If there is no market for it, they will not basically extract it. They will extract other oil refineries or refined
Exactly.
products.
So, what will be prolonged effect of COVID-19 over global energy trends?
Well, we've seen it. I mean, we are now 2 years after the first pandemic of the COVID-19, and the energy supply and energy demand is growing. It's still growing with all the precautions. I mean, people are now going back to work. They're using transportation more, etc. So I think we will take our precautions. We'll have more vaccines. We will learn more how to deal with it, and I believe. COVID-19 will go. It happened, I think, in the Spanish fever, I think 100 years ago, and it went. I believe it's gonna be behind us in few years to come, hopefully.
Okay, so why is it quite difficult for a petroleum engineering fresh graduate to get into petroleum companies compared to other streams?
This is a good question. So let's see. It's not only petroleum engineers. I think if you compare yourself to IT, yes, I agree. IT, they will be hired much faster because there will be a lot of let's say IT needs. I mean, somebody can go and develop a website for a grocery store, right? So the main difference is in my personal opinion, because there is an abundance of professionals out there, the average salary that will go to IT professionals will become less compared with the oil and gas employees. So yes, it's a bit difficult for you as an oil and gas employee to get hired, but once you get hired, you can escalate quickly, and then you can I would say the financial revenue, if this is important, I'm sure it's important to everyone, is a bit is relatively higher than other disciplines.
Okay, sir.
And by the way, I mean, just to continue, as I said, if you compare yourself to IT, then yes, IT is faster. But if you compare yourself to, for example, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, architectural engineering, electrical engineering, everybody's suffering. So to be honest, we are in a situation where um, the amount of graduates getting degrees from universities around the world is significantly much higher than maybe 20 years ago. Okay, and there is I would say more supply than the demand probably, and that's why you have to, as I said many times, you have to be unique. You have to put an edge, put something additional to your degree in order for you to be competing with all the other graduates.
Yes, sir. Will COVID-19 be helpful for oil reserves life cycle?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty difficult to
Yes.
answer. Actually, it's a million of years in which petroleum reserves are generated and created.
Yes.
So it's really hard to reply.
Yeah.
So next one is automobile industry is one of the major consumers of oil and gas. With the introduction of electrical vehicles and the inclination of companies towards the same, would the demand of oil and gas decrease gradually? As just presented, we noticed how energy sources are
Fine. This is excellent question, guys. When the car moves, okay, today using gasoline or diesel, it is using energy, right? Correct. Now I remove this engine and I put a electric motor. It will move, right? But it will also need energy, correct? So where is the energy coming that's going to feed this electric motor coming from? Think about it. So in order, so what will happen is that as more electric cars coming into the street, there will be more electricity demand put on the governments, because there will be more cars that will we charge every day, right? So how would the government supply this electricity to these cars? They have to generate it. And in order for them to generate it, if they don't have access to rivers where they can build domes, and if they will basically use turbines to create electricity, or as I said, steam, or So as I said, if you're talking about only transportation and cars, the electricity needed to run these cars will still be generated by use of fossil fuels.
Okay, sir. As recently announced by India Oil and Gas major player ONGC, why are some major oil and gas companies employing or adding renewable energy generation?
Basically, it's all about number one, it's all about economics, right? It's the owners of the oil and gas companies, they believe that since they are energy providers to the world, they need also to produce energy as an alternative, right? Many companies now, as I said, Schlumberger is one of them, is adding new organizations, new departments to work on renewables. Okay, so it's not nothing but adding to the mixture of energy supply to the world. Okay.
Yes, sir.
No, by the way, just to close, no
Yes.
oil and gas company will shift, right? They will add more renewables, but their main core will still oil and gas.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mukram, please allow also one or two participants to ask, only one or two, then after we'll close the session.
Okay,
I think
actually,
Dr.
nobody is
S.C.
waiting.
Sarma,
Yeah.
if you want, please ask your question. Dr. S.C. Sarma, already we
Okay.
give you. Sure not? Yes,
Let me just answer one of the questions from the chat. There is an interesting question. I want to know why you didn't mention biomass and hydrogen energy, because it's not it's very minimal today. Okay, it is still not considered as a considerable amount of energy resource as of today. Hydrogen may come in the future, but until today it is still very low.
Hello.
Sector. Yes, hello.
My name is Myra, and I've loved the session a lot. And you tell each and everything in presentation very clearly and nicely. So presentation was very nice by you, and I don't have any doubt, but I want to appreciate that, sir, that you are very good. You each and slide told us very nicely and clearly. We understand very nicely. So thank you so much. So can you tell your name? What's your name?
My name is Ahmed Shammari. I'm in the invite to this session. My name is there. My LinkedIn profile is there, and you're all invited to join me on LinkedIn. So.
Okay. So what's your name? Can you tell your name?
It's Ahmed Shammari. My name is Ahmed Shammari. Yeah.
Okay. So I will follow you in LinkedIn. I also in LinkedIn.
Sure.
Thank you.
And I want to share something that I am doing a social worker 12 months internship from Ashman Foundation. From LinkedIn also. From LinkedIn, I've applied it.
Thank you, Maria. Now we would like to ask Dr. S.C. Sarma, if you want to please share. Ask your question.
Ahmed.
Yes.
You have Middle East holds about 50% of oil and gas reserves.
True.
And with the kind of reserve distribution which is there, oil and gas reserve distribution which is there globally,
yes.
How long Middle East can produce, especially when 1% of energy, I mean the balance energy is coming from the other sources, including renewable, hydel, and of course, some amount. Hydrogen is not going to happen at all, to be very frank, because it can't compete with oil and gas.
Yes.
So I mean, how long Middle East is going to produce, given the fact that every year 1% of balance energy is going to be supplemented by renewables?
So that's a good question, Dr. Sharma. So first of all, Middle East is not all one, I would say, country. We're talking about many countries. I am originally from Syria, but I lived, 30 years in Saudi Arabia, so I can tell about Saudi Arabia. For example, Saudi Arabia, they have probably the largest reserve in the Middle East, and based on the current production, they would be able still to continue to supply oil and gas for the coming maybe 70, 80 years, right? So the question is what? The question is, today there are many countries around the world who are producing today. They will vanish their production in maybe 10, 15 years. Okay. And many countries, they don't want to mention that, but it is a fact. All right. There are countries today who are, their wells are producing in the percentage of 90 to 95% water. Right. So in many countries, oil is vanishing. Right. Yes, as I said, new explorations are being added. New reserves are being added as we speak. But if we talk about, for example, Saudi Arabia in particular, they will continue to produce because of their reserves is the proven reserves are quite high, so they would still be able to produce in the coming 70, 80 years. Okay.
Okay. Can I put this question in a different way?
Yes.
When I joined oil industry way back in 1983,
yes,
and today, the difference between reserves is 3 times higher than what it used to be in 1983.
True.
And the reserve to production ratio has gone up from 1:30 to 1:50 and 1:55 for oil and gas.
Yes.
And as you said that, yes, quantity wise, the more and more oil and gas reserves are going to be discovered. Now, as far as my estimates are concerned, hydrogen cannot compete with oil and gas, because what happens is that oil and gas prices are speculative. And as and when any balancing energy comes, the oil and gas prices can always balance themselves to compete
True.
with any other additional, any other incremental energy, be it from renewable energy or be it from hydrogen.
True. Very insightful, Dr. Sharma. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I've been there in this industry for last 35, 40 years. And I mean, I've been...
Yeah, the wisdom speaks. The wisdom speaks, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, for attending this webinar. Now it's time. Good evening to one and all to attend here. My name is Dr. Saubhagyanandana Mahapatra, HOD, Petroleum Engineering Department, UI, Chandigarh University. On behalf of Chandigarh University, first of all, my sincere thanks to Almighty God for making today's event grand success. By His blessings and grace, we are able to make the event what it was. I hope you have all enjoyed the talk, Global Energy Trends, Petroleum versus Other Energy. It is my honor and privilege now to give vote of thanks to all those who helped make this event successful. This type of incident cannot happen overnight. The wheels start moving about a month ago. It requires planning and bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate to be supported by a team of very active and dedicated employees of our organization who are well versed in their job. I give heartfelt vote of thanks to our Honorable Chancellor, Sri Satnam Singh Sandhu, who continuously inspired us to do our best and stand as a pillar of power. I would like to express our sincere thanks to Mr. Amar Samari from Slumberger for giving an excellent coverage of regarding energy industry, including start from past to present and also future. What would be the industry, oil industry scenario in future? So thanks a lot, sir, to spare your valuable time with us and give good knowledge to us regarding the oil industry. I hope most of our students also get good knowledge, and they having also fear about COVID-19, and now they about clear what is the effect of COVID-19. Even though or ratio of a student decreasing in your admission in most college and university, but job opportunity will be more high because the competition will be less. So all the best, all the future graduate student from petroleum engineering. And I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my team member, Professor Vinay Babu, Professor Mukram, Professor Abhishek, Professor Chandana, Professor Iqbal, Professor Babu William for their continuous support to make this event successful. I'd like also thanks to student committee members and also supporting staff member for complete preparation of this tech event. I also want to thank the people who work behind the scene to execute this event. No one else except our technical arrangement team, because without their technical arrangement team and branding team, this event will not be more successful. They help a lot us. And our this event also live broadcast will be our YouTube also, and people will be seeing LinkedIn also. And I also request to participant, please fill the feedback form. Will be give you participation certificate.
Thank you, Dr. Subhagya. It's been an honor. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I thank you from my bottom of heart. Also, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the audience present today, because without audience, this event will not be successful. So thank you once again, all of you. Your participation and suggestions always help us. Please send us your feedback, or it will be more appreciated. Thank you to join this session.
Thank you all. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Yes. Bye.